Hi again, everybody. Because of the success of installing the smoke generator in the Coronation, I've decided to install generators in a couple of my other locos, such as the City of Liverpool and my Flying Scotsman, the National Railway Museum version, which I'm very pleased with. The only slight difference with the what? Oh, Flying Scotsman, is I need to replace chimney with a metal one, because they are susceptible to the heat generated from the smoke units. So I'll just have to replace it with this, similar to Graham at Lakeside when he had to do his A4. I was quite impressed with Graham's A4 to the point I want to do one of my A4s, so I bought smokestack for one of those, which I'll do sometime in the future. So what I'll do now is I'll prepare this, if we take the top off, ready for the smoke unit, which it looks as though I can fit possibly about there. What I will have to do is, if you can see, there's two holes I can use. One you can see all the way through, the other one you can't because of this plastic covering here. There's that there. So what I'm going to have to do is just cut it away slightly so I can use this back hole. I don't want to use the front because I need to cut too much of the plastic away inside. So I'll just use this one, and so there's minimum amount of work needed on this plastic body part. The most important thing, getting back to these again, is whenever you fit in a smoke generator, you must get advice, unless you already know, of how to prepare the locomotive body so it doesn't melt from the heat generated. Now John from YouTube, who's very knowledgeable, says, or believes, because of the aperture is so big, and I'll probably make it slightly bigger again, if I wrap the smoke generator, which has already got heat shrink on it, if I put more heat shrink on it and get it to fit in the hole, that should be sufficient. I'll also put epoxy on it, which will help to disperse the heat. And as mentioned in my other video, the bottom of the smoke unit, you might be able to see, the reflection might be pretty bad on this, but at the bottom it's important to keep that clear as well, again to allow the heat to escape. So you have to think about all those situations and research before you buy any of these and fit them into a locomotive, because you don't want to buy it, fit it in and watch it melt away. I'm surprised that hasn't happened to me with the Coronations. Because I'm pleased with the Coronation. What I'm not pleased with is my ability to show you all it working. Because this fluid, it was relatively cheap in comparison to something like that, but as you saw in the last video, the smoke it generates was less than, I don't know, the properly bought stuff. In addition to that, it spat an awful lot. Some of you older ones may remember someone called Bob Carroll-Gees, and he had a puppet called Spit the Dog. It was very reminiscent. My train going round, oh, Spit the Dog. Oh dear, dear, dear. So what I'll try and do with this is I'll show you in more detail what it is I do to make it to make this smoke generator fit in here, because all the electrics, the socket nut is in the tender, so I'm going to have to route wires all the way through, and I'll show you all that in the next part of this video. So yeah, thanks very much for your time. Speak to you soon. Hi again. Right, the situation now is I've prepared the body. You might just be able to make it out. See if we can get a torch, small torch. I'll show. Battery's going. Does everything fail on me when I come to use it? Okay, you might just be able to see. I've had to cut the body away that I didn't want to at the front here, because it covered the hole to the far left, or nearest the front of the loco. That wouldn't line up with the chassis, so I was going to use the one furthest away from the front of the loco. This is not doing any good. So it took a long time with my trusty files to work away at getting this plastic bit cut back, because I'm clumsy. Spent an awful long time doing that, and then when I did that, what I didn't find out though is how easy these chimneys come off. So the Flying Scotsman should be a doddle, and the aperture is quite large, so I will be able to double up the insulating on the smoke unit to protect the body from it. I'll still use epoxy when I glue it in. I'll also cover the front of the loco, a thin layer to protect it. So yeah, that's that. And then when I did that, I discovered that it didn't matter which hole I put the smoke unit in, it fouled on the chassis. So what I had to do to the chassis is the front bit of the tin on its side, between, let's get this, between there and the front, there's a square block, and that, no matter which hole I used, on its side, no matter which hole I used, it fouled on that block. So I had to cut it away, and I couldn't cut down too far, because you can just make out a screw hole there, which is holding whoops, that plastic, is it called valve gear? Is that called valve gear? No idea. So I had to cut it back to there, and it just fits in now. So the smoke unit comes to about there, so it's not directly on the chassis, it's just above, and a trail of wires in here. Because I've cut this bit out here, what I want to do is put some weights in here. Yeah, so that's my plan, is to put some weights in there to weight the front down again. Now I've cut this small bit out here. I only need 2 or 3 weights, I would imagine. So that's the chassis. That's ready to take the smoke unit now, as is the body. The tender. Because the smoke units are not polarity dependent, so it doesn't matter which wire you connect to which lead, a bit like the incandescent bulbs on the old locos, and it didn't matter which way you put the wires on, it still work. unlike LEDs. So this wire is coming from the blue, and you might just be able to make it out. I've soldered underneath the socket onto the blue section, thread it through the hole here, and then that's going to go to the front. I've connected an extension wire to the purple lead, which according to the instructions is the one I need to use for, this is a lock sound. What I am toying with is, I can't remember the sounds, they're from Olivia's Trains, and I don't like Olivia's Trains for lots of reasons. So what I'm toying with is, if I'm not happy when I've connected it all up with the sounds and so on, I'm going to re-blow this and put it into my Class 50. I'll buy Lego Man Biffo's Class 50 sound files, or a 56, and replace this with the Zimmo, because I do like the Zimmo sounds. I bought a new Zimmo decoder for my Flying Scotsman, so I may replace this. Just got to tie these wires up again. So these will be routed through to the front of the loco, and the good thing about this is the drawbar is fixed in position, it's screwed in position, so you can't easily come apart, and because of that it gives some protection against pulling this wire. So there's several holes here to put the wires through, which I'll then route through to the loco. I thought I was going to have to drill it, but fortunately I don't. So that's the end of this video, this part of the video rather. The next video you'll see now is it all connected together. I'll put the body, I may put the body loosely on the chassis, so I can show you the inside, where all the wires go, and the smoke unit and so on. So yeah, thanks very much. Hi once again. I finished this City of Liverpool. I was going to show you the inside, but there was a slight issue, which for anybody that's thinking of installing a smoke unit, be very careful of the two wires coming out the bottom of it. I put it all together, and during the process the centre yellow wire came away, and the end of it attached to the smoke unit was buried in the, I can only describe as resin. It took me ages to unpick the resin to give enough of the centre wire to be able to solder to again, which I'm so pleased. I have fine tips on the soldering iron I use. If it hadn't been for the very thin tips I use, soldering this would have been an absolute nightmare, and I was dreading it because it was all fixed in position. I managed to get 2 layers of heat shrink around the sleuth, and let me just turn this off. Come on, come on, come on. Sound won't go off. Right, it's off now. Yeah, I managed to get 2 layers of heat shrink around the sleuth and fit it into the stack. I've showed you in the previous part of this video, I had to adjust, not adjust, to take away part of the body, the chassis, because the bottom of the unit fouled on it. And because of that, I put the smoke generator at the front of the stack, whereas before I was going to put on the rear. But because I had to take the plastic away in the end, and the part of the chassis, I thought I might as well do that, put it at the front. And it was going well until the centre wire, yellow wire, came off. But yeah, it works. What I have tried is the this Johnson's Baby Oil. Didn't work. So it looks like the only thing that really does work is the purpose supplied smoke oil. So I'll try it. And it was working up until now. So I'll turn the unit on. There you go. Don't know how much oil is left in there. But yeah, it looks as though the water-based oil and the olive oil don't really work. Even though this oil is a bit more expensive, it's the only one that really does work. And I believe you can get different smells, so it smells like the real thing. Who knows? I'll just experiment now with different types of oils that were produced for smokestacks. I'll burn that off. I don't want to put this away now. What I'm toying with, let's turn this off again. What I'm toying with is replacing the lock sound decoder with a Zimmo. This has Olivia's train sounds on it, and I'm not 100% happy. John's at You Choose, I think, are much better. So what I'll probably do is take it out of this and put it into, I've got a class 50 or a 56. I'll buy the sound projects off Lego Man Biffo, and yeah, put it in the reblow the chip and put it in the class 50 or a 56. Probably the class 50 because I quite like that. Yeah, and stick a Zimmo in there. But as you can see, the smoke generator on this works really well. I also put layers of resin epoxy in there around the smoke box, if that's what you call it. I'll turn this off now. Yeah, to help protect the bodywork. So the smoke unit has got 2 layers of heat shrink, a layer of epoxy around it, and then epoxy around the smoke box. Again, I'm not familiar with all the terminology yet. Again, I keep on saying that. But yeah, I'm very pleased with this. I'm very, very pleased I managed to solder the centre wire back on the smokestack. Because I can imagine if I hadn't, getting the smoke generator off with all the glue that's on it to put another one on would have been an absolute nightmare. But yeah, the next project is the Flying Scotsman, which I do have a new Zimmo decoder for that. I won't show this running around the layout, the track, but I will show the Flying Scotsman when I do that. The next project after that will be wiring I'm going to show you how to put together a simple wiring loom, if you want to call it that, with using LEDs and such, to put in a DC, a diesel, and you can use it in steam as well if you wanted to, or a DCC locomotive, and that'll be sometime next week. It won't be heavy going, it will be simple how to wire up directional lights. So yeah, thanks very much for your time.